Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Coach Prime, the Colorado Buffaloes landing another massive commitment coming out of the transfer portal, and former Florida A&M linebacker Cheney Jr. Now, this was one of those players I had to go back to the 2023 year, watch a little bit of him, get a sense of what he brings. My biggest takeaway is this is really one of the more violent linebackers you'll see in college football heading into 2024. You talk about Colorado not only trying to get better against the run heading into 2024, but more importantly, just playing a little bit more physical on the defensive side of the football. You get that with Cheney Jr., who, by the way, 24/7 Sports not updating the profile. He's 6'2", 235 pounds. Downhill linebacker, takes on blocks exceptionally well, can even rush the passer at a high level as well. Want to get into what Cheney Jr. brings to this Colorado program, take a little dive into what this linebacker room looks like for Colorado before we get into it. And as always, just want to say thank you to you guys, the Colorado fans. It's been a blast talking this program over the last couple of weeks. You guys continue to show a ton of love, a ton of support to the boys. Can't thank you guys enough. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. And without further ado, let's get into Cheney Jr. Now, we talked about the physicality in which he plays the game with. One of the more important and one of the more things I like about Cheney Jr. is he's coming from a Florida A&M defense that now at the FCS level, you didn't see a better defense across the country, and he was a large part of that. And that's something that, especially at that linebacker position, kind of, the captain of the defense, so to speak, I love linebackers that are coming from really good defenses. Now, I think that's exactly what Cheney Jr. is. Started every single game for Florida A&M in the 2023 year. Take a look at some of the numbers. Hammer against the run, 27 run stops. That is an extraordinary number for a linebacker. One of the things that really stood out to me is he's really good in coverage as well. He was faced with 25 targets, only gave up 12 catches, a 48% completion percentage when targeted. This is a linebacker that can operate in space, get his hands into throwing windows, and that is something that is massively important in this day and age of college football. You look at all the offenses that are going to try to spread you out, test linebackers in terms of what they can do in space, what they can do in coverage. There are a lot of linebackers that can play that box linebacker role, right? Play around the line of scrimmage, be physical at the point of attack. What makes linebackers special in my mind is, okay, can you provide value in the run game, but also not be a liability in the passing attack? And Cheney Jr., not just not a liability, I think he can be a weapon in terms of what he can do against passing attacks as well. It's hard to find linebackers that can do that. Tackle running backs in the flat, carry tight ends up the seam. Cheney Jr. has that kind of athleticism. Really big fan of what he brings to the table. And I think the last thing to point out, really good pass rusher as well. 14% pass rush win rate. You look at Colorado last year, they like to blitz some of those linebackers. I wonder if Cheney Jr. comes in and, can kind of be another weapon in the pass rush department for this Colorado defense. And you start going through the checklist of what Cheney Jr. does really well. Good against the run, extremely physical, can give you a juice in the pass rush, but also be a guy that you can trust in coverage, whether it's out in the flat, whether it's carrying tight ends up the seam. I really like this pickup. And again, I think the question is, can he make the jump from the FCS to that Power 5 level? We just saw plenty of Colorado players make that same jump last year in 2023. And you dive into the linebacker room, which was, I don't think any Colorado fans would argue that was not a strength of this Colorado defense last year. You start to say we feel pretty good about the linebacker room and how it's kind of shaken out. You return guys like Levante Bentley and Trevor Woods. Levante Bentley, I think, is a really quality linebacker. Trevor Woods, maybe you're trying to, I don't know if replace is the right word, but try to add some competition to the room. What do they go out and do? You go out and land a guy in Nikhai Hill-Green, who, again, as a Michigan fan, I'm familiar with. I think he is a very quality linebacker for Colorado. You get a guy in Jalen Wester, and then you bring in a guy in Cheney Jr., who I just think can make that jump to the Power 5 level. Obviously, Coach Prime is familiar with him, having played Florida A&M during his time at Jackson State. I think this one makes a lot of sense. Not only a really good linebacker, but bringing that kind of physicality that I think a lot of Colorado fans want to see on the defensive side of the football. I look at this linebacker room and say, that's 4 or 5 guys that we feel really good about in that room. I think that is one of the many rooms that have gotten a lot better for this Colorado program heading into 2024. We'll continue to update you guys with Coach Prime Colorado in the transfer portal. Appreciate you guys rocking with the boys. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We'll talk to y'all later. Peace.